Welcome back to Make It Stick. Let's jump into Anki. Two flashcards. What do we got? 5 sections of Chapter 5, Avoid Illusions of Knowing. The 2 systems of knowing. Illusions and memory distortions. Memory cues. Unskilled and unaware of it. Tools and habits for calibrating your judgment. Not memory cues, mental models. What are the 14 claims the authors make and Make It Stick? Oh my gosh. There's a direct relationship between the amount of effort of retrieval and the amount of learning. 2. Mass practice and rereading are among the most common study techniques across domains, across industries, yet are among the least effective study techniques. We're often poor judges of when we're learning well and when we're not learning well. Retrieval practice is more effective than restudying, rereading, mass practice. Spaced and interleaved retrieval leads to feeling some more difficulty or effort. It can feel like learning less, but it actually is learning more. At least learning more. 6. What do we got? Attempting to do something, learn something before being taught it or learning how to do it leads to deeper learning, better learning once you do learn how to do it. Discrimination skills are defined by the ability to discriminate among closely related things, what makes them different, the underlying principles that differ between them, underlying patterns that differ, the nuances. This is a skill that can be trained through interleaving and varying practice, and it is a skill that leads to better, more nuanced understanding, discrimination skills for further related information. 8. There's no empirical evidence to show that sticking with one's learning style, preferred learning style, leads to better learning. In fact, going broad, getting lots of different mediums, modes, as well as tailoring specific learning pedagogy and teaching styles and learning methods to specific types of content shows to be much more grounded in evidence than sticking with one's preferred learning style. 9. We're all susceptible to illusions of knowing, but testing is a good way to calibrate that illusion or that understanding of ourselves, our own understanding of our own abilities, knowledge, our own metacognition. 10. There's no known limit to how much we can learn if we use elaboration. 11. 11. I think it's like the more, or a characteristic. No, it's something. We already talked about testing. Dude, I don't know, man. This has pissed me off kind of. A characteristic of expertise mastery is the ability to distill subjects, courses, concepts down to their main components, create a mental model from those main components, key ideas, key patterns, and then connect that mental model to other mental models that they've developed. The more information that we have to connect new information to, the better, quicker, and more durable the learning. Learning physically changes the brain. We can become smarter. We're missing one. What could we be missing? Something, I think it's discrimination skills, testing, calibration. No, limits how much you can learn. Testing. Attempting to do something before learning how to do it leads to better learning when you learn it. Discrimination skills. What am I missing, dude? All learning requires previous learning. That sucks. We missed that fucking shit. There is direct relationship. Okay, good. People are often poor judgment. Good. Rereading. Good. Retrieval practice. Good. 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 Ability to discriminate between closely related things leads to increased ability to problem solve and see opportunities in novel situations. Okay, I missed that one. I got it, but I missed that point. So discrimination skills lead to being able to spot opportunities as well as improve problem solving. That's everything except for what did I miss? All learning requires previous learning. All right, what did we read about yesterday? We're in the notes section. Did I even take any notes? But it's so, for whatever reason, it's hard to recall these things. If I took notes or not. Did I take notes? B.F. Skinner, that was the day before. Feedback was not yesterday. Oh. Something about the Brazilian children. Okay, here's something. Here's a note I took. There is surprisingly evidence to show that tailoring pedagogy or education style to one's not preferred, but one's strongest intelligence based on Sternberg's 3 intelligence, creative, analytical, and practical, does lead to better learning outcomes. So I think that might have been the only note I took. Good so far. There is that note. Good. Imagination inflation we forgot to mention. Metacognition. So 2 things I forgot. Imagination inflation is essentially the phenomena where you imagine something and this leads to you actually later on remembering or thinking that it happened when in fact it did not. It was an imagined event or thing. That's imagination inflation. Metacognition is thinking about thinking. In this particular context, they're referring to metacognition as the ability to understand one's own thinking abilities, one's own knowledge, one's own strengths and weaknesses, what they've learned, what they have not learned. I believe that's what it was saying, metacognition. What we know about what we know and how we assess our performance. Not too bad. Okay. All right, I'm going to jump back in to continue reading now, and then I'll be back to recall what I learned in a little bit. All right, so really close to finishing now on the notes. What did I... Dang it, dude. Why is it's so hard to retrieve for some reason when it's all this random information and most of it's junk. What did I learn? What did I take notes on at least? There's something in there. I don't know. I did order the Pneumology book on mnemonics. I was like, I've been hating on mnemonics a lot. Let's just give in and see what it's all about. So that book's on the way. Let's see what I'm forgetting, dude. Right, 2 notes. So they gave the example of studying one example of how to solve a problem versus comparing 2 problems, contrasting 2 problems and their solutions, saying what's different between the 2. One leads to example learning and one leads to more rule learning. Rule learning and abstraction leads to better learning transfer and just better learning overall. Interestingly, according to the study that was referenced here, one's degree of abstraction and rule learning is pretty consistent across domains. So it's kind of like a degree of a characteristic or preference to some degree. It's not like if you're a rule learner in math, you're not going to be a rule learner in science or English or art or something. It seems to be pretty consistent across domains for individuals. So I think that was the 2 notes. All right. We have 2 pages left for the notes section. So tomorrow we'll finish that section. So that's it for today. Talk to you tomorrow. See you.